child and marveled as the youngster grew and became uncommonly strong. Now the boy, known as Goku, is on his own and has become the sole guardian of his grandfather's most mystical possession, his Dragon Ball.
Okay, this should be working. Just double checking. This is a freestyle, essentially, a rundown of everything I want to do. It's not for viewership, I think, to go somewhere, but notes for self. We want to start working on a video essay. The video essay would cover Network, the movie, I believe, before we do The Devil's Advocate, or The Devil's Advocate first and then Network. Both show essentially varying and distinct ways in which the devil is represented into today's society.
Excuse me, what the fuck are you looking at? Yeah, you, were you deaf or something? You don't hear me?
Oh, I hear you fine.
Yeah?
Through elements related to capitalism, the atomization of the soul, and yada yada. It's also just a good movie.
Go down to the mailroom. As of this minute, over 14,000 telegrams. The response is sensational. Herb, tell him. Herb's phone hasn't stopped ringing. Every goddamn affiliate from Albuquerque to Sandusky. The response is sensational. Yes.
Something to watch and dissect, and I think it'd just be fun. Those videos will naturally come out to be maybe around 30 minutes long. The time or the range of like an episode.
He needs care and treatment. And all you grave robbers think about is that he's a hit.
You know, Max, it's just possible that he isn't insane. That he is, in fact, imbued with some special spirit.
My God, I'm supposed to be the romantic. You're supposed to be the hard-bitten realist.
All right.
And I'll probably want to put ads in those, breaks for ads in those, since they do take a long time and it would require several days. It would be a project on top of the daily output of videos, which that'll always stay, I believe. Ad free. Then we'll move on to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, with the idea that the human spirit will get subjugated in both aspects, and it's kind of interesting in that movie. I hadn't seen it before, I think a couple of nights ago. There's two working forces that try to rehabilitate what I think is the control character, the one where the movie is essentially trying to show us how these two different forces act on an individual. Both are, I guess, extreme in their own natures, and how both end up failing the control group. End up actually, exacerbating the problem, not really providing solution, and essentially just working off of either hubris or, arrogance.
You're just a young kid. What are you doing here? You got to be out in a convertible while bird dogging chicks and banging beaver. What are you doing here, for Christ's sake? What's funny about that?
It's an interesting movie. It's very sovereign in its thinking. I want to try maybe to read the book, put it out there. And I think it's a good connection to the play or the novella Anthem, which I just also read in one sitting by Ayn Rand. Amazing poetry, literature, everything. There's so compact with little nuggets of inspired wisdom. You could tell that she was channeling something universal, the universal guiding light. She even refers to it as light. The whole principle behind Anthem is light, and it adds a lot to my worldview. So that's definitely going to get covered, whether it's a part of everything else or on its own. Excuse me. I'm healthy. Anthem is going to get covered for sure by Ayn Rand. Beautiful story. And now, today I saw a movie that I hadn't thought about in a long time. Heaven Almighty, with Steve Carell. honestly had me laughing at a couple times and even teary-eyed, and it could be because I'm just in such a vulnerable spot right now, but it was such a worthwhile watch. It was amazing to me to be able to sit down and actually, you know, just follow through on an instinct, like watching a movie that it's not to, you know, pick it apart to pieces, but it's literally just to have a wholesome watch with yourself, you know, something good for the soul. And I was thinking about, you know, doing a run through of that, you know, just for the fun of it, for the lulz, for the meme.
Enough already!
See, if you had an ark, you'd have a place to put them all.
Why are you doing this? Why me?
And then if that works out and I have fun doing that, I'll cover Bruce Almighty. It would be a double. It would be a double feature, and I think I'll work on both of those. Either way, but that's the idea. That's the rundown of what I want to get through. Those are projects in addition to today, whatever day is. Excuse me, I'm gonna go blow my nose. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Goodness gracious. So, excuse me. There seems to be a sickness going around. I live in Florida. Probably doxed myself already at this point, but yeah, here down, specifically South Florida. I don't know if that's too much. In Florida, there seems to be, I don't know if it's like that corona thing, 0.2, version 2, but people have been getting sick a lot, and it doesn't seem to be, you know, as drastic, especially in the media. I think it's because there's too much of a lot of other stuff going on, but it's subtly out there and it's attacking people. I've seen it at work, I've seen it among my friends and family. Not good. Keep yourself healthy.
Don't be silly, Gary. I don't get colds. I get the suds.
I've always thought that getting sick was also your body's sign. You know, this is probably a little copium. It was your body's sign of telling you that, okay, now we are in a comfortable position enough to relax, lower our defense systems a bit, and because we feel comfortable, we feel safe enough to lower our immune system and let ourselves like kind of purge.
Well, Mr. Squarepants, it seems you have the suds. Are you ready for your treatment?
You're not gonna make me read old magazines, are you?
You know, our machine has to have a purge at some point. We can't just be like, you know, top of the food chain, top of the line every time. It's obvious, even with the fact that we need to sleep. We need to be in like a vulnerable, crappy, evolutionarily vulnerable position for 8 hours in order for our brains to function for, you know, a good chunk of our lives. And even then we continue to deteriorate. It's obvious that, you know, while we're still alive, maybe our immune system, you know, needs those little bits of just resting periods where it can feel sick, it can have a fever, it can power through and heat up so that way it can, you know, continue to function. Maybe it even gets better.
Here's your lollipop.
But that helps me because that means that possibly, you know, I'm comfortable enough with my situation that I'm able to at least get the sniffles. You know, I'll get some sniffles. I still have a little bit of trouble sleeping sometimes, but it gets better and better day after day. And that's also why we have our prescription inhalants. Speaking of. I know based off of the last 2 videos, which is why I don't know if I will post this, but I never touched on, you know, the fact of prescription drugs or medical marijuana use or any type of use, and I don't know if I will. Don't know if I will yet. It doesn't feel like it's coming out naturally. But yeah, at least I'm able to get some decent to good sleep. I'm moving forward with projects. And this feels good every time. It doesn't feel like a hassle. It feels like something that I could do, that feels like good work, and it's something that also carries me throughout the day. I've never liked the idea that you need to work overtime to be the best. I know that that's what it maybe looks like, and maybe that's what it comes across as, considering the amount of volume, the amount of dedication seen amongst the greats. But I've always felt like there's maybe a little bit of perspective missing in that. The perspective is missing that to these people, to these greats, overtime is almost tantamount to just living. Maybe there's no other way to go about the rest of their day, or a good chunk of their day, or one part of their day. To them, it's not an effort, it's not a sacrifice, it's not even overtime. Time is not a factor. They're just breathing.
And there is no contradiction here in that you help him.
No, because you see, I am in love with him selfishly. It is to my own interest to help him if he ever needed it. I would not call that a sacrifice because I take selfish pleasure in it.
And then in their breath, they're constantly moving towards what they want, towards what they perceive to be a desirable goal in their life. If you don't know what that is, but you're just working yourself to death without knowing what that desirable goal is, or without knowing what it feels like to live according to that truth, I think you'll inevitably burn out. And that's what the culture has been. It's people looking at these greats and thinking, it has to look exactly like that, even if it's not the same thing that I like, even if I don't want to do exactly what they do. It has to look like that. It has to look like more. And if it doesn't get me where I need to go, it's because I'm wrong. It's not because I'm just not in alignment with that desire. It's not because it's just not really what I want. It's just what I'm being told I want. No, I'm wrong. You can do whatever you set your mind to. If there's something getting in the way, it's usually something that you put there yourself. And there's a good reason why it's there. It's there to teach you something. It's there to teach you a lesson. It's there to maybe also be a good place to show you where your ego stops and where your spirit begins. I think that's the concept of a healthy relationship with yourself, is figuring out those two embodying spirits, or those two embodying forces. You have the spirit and you have the ego, and one has a drive and the other has a force that they both can sometimes come into conflict. A good relationship is able to distinguish between the two, but also be able to align the two together, because they are two forces that they can have like a Venn diagram effect, but also they have opposing magnetisms. And in that alignment is where you're able to finally feel, true, where you're able to feel that intuitive nature that has been common to us since, I believe, we were given this gift of consciousness. We figure out that alignment, and then we're able to figure out how we can get healthier, how we can make ourselves healthier, and others. Between the ego and the spirit, we have a lot of work to get through, to distinguish one from the other, and then to finally bring them together. And that's a good amount of time that I spent talking. So I hope we were able to glean something today. It's a little bit into the evening, so I didn't want it to peer too much into your face. And I think this is also the second recording I've done today, which, again, it's just starting to feel natural. It's starting to feel good and like breathing. So, yep, that'll be it for me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, rest of your night, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.